I can't decide on my next track car. Maybe I should just buy another Corvette. C5 Z06. Z06 is the best Corvette, that's for sure. I had a C5 already. It's too old. What about the C7 I just drove? That was really nice. $75,000? It's too expensive. I guess I'm all out of options. Wait a second. That one is just right. Meet Goldie, my new C6 Z06. Let's go take this bad girl for a drive. Here we are in my very own C6 Corvette Z06. This is a 2007, 53,000 miles, bone stock. I'm on one of my favorite roads in the world, on my way to Atlanta Motorsports Park. We're not going to track the car today, we're just going to take a closer look at it, but I want to tell you why I decided to buy it. First of all, I've got a little bit of unfinished business with the C6 Z06. My friend Justin owned one and he let me drive it on track. I did a review video about it and I thought it was amazing, although the brakes did give out going into turn 1 at AMP, so that was terrifying. We did a brake job on it, and the intention was to do a series of videos where I would take it back to the track, and that never happened because Justin was up in the mountains and he blew up the motor. Fast forward a couple of years, and I sold my Ariel Atom, which was kind of my track toy, and I couldn't decide what to buy next. But my friend John said he was going to be in town. He's owned this car for 8 years. He gave me a good deal on it, and I couldn't pass it up, so I decided to buy it. This is intended to be a street car that can do track days, and so I'm going to do a whole video series about the mods I do to set it up for that. But for now, I just want to say that this car is named Goldie because I think it's the Goldilocks of Corvettes. It's right in the sweet spot. I had a C5 Z06 as my first track car, and it was amazing, and I still think that it's probably the best performance bargain that you can buy, bar none. But it's a little rough around the edges. It's showing its age a little bit. I recently drove a C7 Z06, 650 horsepower, supercharged. It's an amazing car, but for me it's a little heavy for a track car. It's kind of overpowered, honestly. But bottom line, it's way too expensive. This has 500 horsepower. It's half the price of a C7 Z06. It weighs 400 or 500 pounds less than that car. And so for me, it's the perfect sweet spot. It's exactly what I wanted. And I am so happy that I finally own one. So we're here at Atlanta Motorsports Park, and we're just going to do a little walk around of the car and check it out. Hey, Jim.
Hey, buddy, how are you doing?
What do you think?
I like it.
Me too. This is mine. I bought it. Yep. Thanks.
Congrats, that is awesome.
Let's do a little walk around, starting with just the looks of the car. You know, the C5 was a much more rounded looking car. Then the C7, they went much more angular. I mean, the basic shape is relatively similar, although with the C5, you could only get it in a notchback with a deck lid. And this one has the hatchback, which is a lot more usable. Same with the C7. They made 28,000 of these cars compared to 40,000 for the C7. You could only get it with a manual. This one is the 2LZ package, which for the 2007 was the highest trim level you could get. That came with heated memory seats, dual zone climate control, upgraded stereo. I still haven't figured out how to smoothly open the door. Of course, they all came with the LS7. Chevy loves to print the numbers right there, 505 horsepower from a 7-liter, 427 cubic inch, naturally aspirated motor. For 16 years, this was the most powerful naturally aspirated motor that Chevy made. It's just phenomenal. 505 horsepower, 470 foot-pounds of torque. That translates to dyno numbers of about 450, 420 for most folks, which is hugely impressive. I had a C5 Z06 with a cam, intake, exhaust tune, and it was below those numbers, especially on the torque front. I think I only made 380 foot-pounds of torque. It was the first LS offered with a dry sump, and the dry sump oiling system basically ensures that even under high G loads, you're always gonna get oiling, you're never gonna get oil starved. If you're going around a long sweeper at high RPM in the C5 Z06, you could potentially starve the motor of oil, and that's never good. Brakes and suspension were upgraded for the Z06 versus the base C6. We've got 14-inch 6-piston calipers. Previous owner put the biggest tires he could fit on here, which are a 295. This is a Michelin Pilot Super Sport. In the back, he's got a 345, which is massive. Let's see if we can get some perspective on just how big that is. That is a wide boy. But with all that torque, it has no problem lighting it up if you turn the traction control off. Even if you have the traction control on, you can spin the tires. 4-piston caliper, 13-inch rotor, chrome wheels. I'm not in love with the chrome. I think those are gonna have to go. Functional brake cooling ducts, front and rear. And we've also got the little air intake on the front bumper. HID headlights, not pop-ups like the C5. So in a lot of ways, this is a Grand Tourer, but in a lot of other ways, it's a real sports car. They did a lot to save weight. These fenders in the front, carbon fiber. The engine cradle, magnesium alloy. The frame, aluminum. And all that weight-saving stuff really adds up. Previous owner told me he weighed himself in this car, and it came in under 3,200 pounds, which by modern standards is crazy, crazy light. And then you think about 505 horsepower, only pushing a little over 3,000 pounds around. It's a recipe for having fun on the street and on the track. There's practicality too. Let's open up the rear hatch. The whole hatch comes up, and you've got a ton of cargo space back here. You know, with the C8, I felt like they kind of had to ruin the looks of the car in order to make room for golf bags. This one, the proportions of the car are perfect, and it's so usable and livable. Let's hop in the interior. We've got keyless start. Got a heads-up display. I think you can see that there. And you can show things like tire pressure, because it does have TPMS, oil pressure, oil temp, that sort of thing. Seat is comfy, but this bolster right here, I feel that bolster kind of sticking out. I haven't gotten used to that feeling. Seats are definitely comfy, but they sort of feel a little bit like an old school leather couch, just very plush, but not gonna hold you in place for track driving. And so for track driving, you want to look at switching those out. Heated seats. Got a 6-disc CD changer and DVD for the maps. Home link for the garage door opener. It's not too crowded in here. You know, I've got tons of room. I'm 6'1", so my headroom here is pretty decent. I wouldn't mind being down a bit lower. Still got plenty of headroom for a helmet. Bright and spacious and comfy, and there's good visibility. From a usability standpoint, it's pretty amazing. Now, what people are gonna kind of bitch about is, you know, the plastics, right? Hard plastics in a lot of places, softer touch plastics, like here on the center console, here on the dash. This is super reflective. I think John put Armor All on it or something, and it's like shining like crazy, and then you get a reflection on the windshield. Steering wheel is just about right in terms of thickness of the rim, diameter of the wheel. Pretty clean design. Somebody needs to do a how-to video on how to open those frickin' doors consistently. It's the only thing that really bothers me about the car. I think that about covers it. Let's head home and we'll talk about my plans for this beast, for this monster. what's it like to drive? It's fast. I mean, there's no way around it. It is fast. It's perfectly comfortable when you're just driving around. There's no drama, there's not a lot of noise, and it doesn't feel like it's pulling at its leash. It's fine, it's comfortable, it's composed, it's exactly what you want it to be. And then you get on it a little bit, and it sort of reveals its other side, but it does it in a way that's very smooth. It doesn't have this abrupt point where it transitions into a snarling beast. It's this smooth gradient. And what can happen is you'll be driving along at the speed limit and you'll just sort of feed it some more throttle without really thinking about it. And then suddenly you're going way over the speed limit and you didn't mean to be. The shifter feels good. The clutch is, whoa, we got deer. Easy deer. Just chilling by the side of the road. I had an opportunity to do a little bit of semi-emergency braking there. The brakes are great, as you would expect. It's not a very heavy car, and it's got a lot of tire on it. It's got a lot of brake on it. So for street driving, the brakes are more than adequate. For suspension, feels pretty good. You know, it's definitely firm and sporty, but when you hit bumpy stuff, it gets a little bit of a bounce going. So a little on the kind of springy, floaty side in terms of what I would want out of a sports car. It'll just build pace, whatever gear you're in. Fourth is nice though. Third is even better. It's quite a motor. It's quite a car. Overall, as a purchase, I love the value proposition. The car has held up really well for its age. And so what I intend to do with this is treat it as a project where the goal is to keep it streetable, to keep it comfortable and versatile and something that you're happy to take grocery shopping or whatever, but also just have it be something that you're excited to take out on the track every once in a while. Not weekly, probably not even monthly, but when the opportunity presents to take it to a track day, you feel totally confident that it can do a great job and hold up and be reliable, be safe. But we're talking brakes, suspension, wheels and tires, maybe headlights, some other minor aesthetic stuff, or maybe I'll get to the end of this phase and then phase 2 will be to turn it into a ridiculous track car. So yeah, guys, this is Goldie. I love her. She's beautiful. She runs great. She handles great. There's a little bit of room for improvement, but that's good news because I'm excited to treat her as a bit of a project car, and I'm excited to bring you along for the ride. So thanks for coming along for the ride. We'll see you next time.